Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I am actually going to pull a Sean Chandler and rank every single Marvel and DC movie ever made. God help me. So everybody seems to love my tier list video, so I'm going to go ahead and explore categories. I really like the feedback I got from the Metallica video. I'm going to do more of those. But comic book movies and horror movies are some of my favorites, and comic book movies, I've seen them since day one, going back to the Christopher Reeve movies, which Christopher Reeve is my hero. That's why I have so many Superman arm tattoos here. I'm working on a sleeve. So I am going to do something that I've never done before, and I'm going to rank with a tier list every single MCU, Marvel, DCU movie ever made. This is going to be a long video, so just FYI. And again, here we go. I've already started it, and I created a column at the very bottom of films I haven't seen. That is a Black Widow. Yes, the Mask of the Phantasm. I know that's hardcore. I should see that. I haven't done it yet. Shang-Chi and the Rings of Shao Kahn. I haven't seen that. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Morbius, Jonah Hex, Punisher, The New Mutants, Fantastic Four, and Elektra. Those are the ones I haven't seen. And honestly, I don't care to see them. I really don't. But I think I've seen every other movie on here. And as you can see, there's a lot. So this video is going to be a long video, and I'm going to spend, because as of right now, it's Sunday night, about 10 o'clock at night. I don't want to be up till midnight. So I'm going to get through this and start right away. Category is goated from the very top all the way down to F. And then, of course, they haven't seen. So let's get started. You ready to do this? And please, if you haven't done so, subscribe, like the video, leave some comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Let's do this. First one, Superman. This is the one that started it all. Goated. No question. This is my hero, Christopher Reeve. He is the best Superman. I do like Henry Cavill, of course, but my God, Christopher Reeve is my hero. I cried when he died. And this movie started it all. This movie convinced Hollywood that superheroes can be a serious topic. It can be a serious film with A-list actors. And it's a trendsetter. Even Kevin Feige said that, before any movie, at least when the MCU first started, that any movie that they did, that he made sure the entire crew and team saw Superman because that's what they wanted to replicate. That proves to their success. And again, goated. Christopher Reeve, one of the best. It started it all. Ooh, Spider-Man, the original. Oh, God. One of the best Spider-Man films ever made? No. Goated. There's going to be a lot of goated ones here, okay? I've goated an A. I'm going to be really... Maybe nostalgic is going to pull my emotions with these decisions, but I'm going to say Spider-Man is goated. I'm telling you, when I was in that theater and Green Goblin started going to hell on Peter Parker, it turned into a horror movie, and the tone in the audience went cold. Everyone freaked out. And it's, in my opinion, that's one of the best Spider-Man movies ever made. I can't argue with that. Spider-Man 2, God, goated. I got to chill out with the goated, but Spider-Man 2, yes. Amazing film. I mean, that train sequence, tell me, I don't think there's been any other, as far as fight sequence and him overcoming adversity, has there been any other Spider-Man film that has been greater than that fight on the train and he had to stop it? I can't think of one. Then we got Joey Diaz that pops up there. Go on him, you got to get through me. Spider-Man 3. I know this is a fan favorite for a lot of people. I'm going to say a C. Too many villains. The story got convoluted. It was just too busy. I think if it just kept with the original villain of Sandman and not gone further than that, I think it would have been a great film. But I'm going to say C for now. I know it's gaining popularity as of late, but I can't go past that. The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. This one, you know what? I'm going to give it a B. This is good. I think a lot of people were way too hard on Andrew Garfield and his movies. Part 2, I'll talk about that in a bit, but that is some of the best web slinging sequences of all the films. I'm talking about even the Tobey Maguire films. Him's web slinging looked amazing. The end montage, with Spider-Man finally is doing his web slinging at the very end. That's the best choreographed and the best looking Spider-Man ever. The suit is probably the best ever too. I love that. You can see the wrinkles in his suit as he walks. It doesn't look like a fake CGI cartoon like the later Marvel movies did. So yes, I think it's unfair of the hate he got, but I'm giving Amazing Spider-Man a B. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Again, I do not understand why people hate these movies so much. Granted, they're not great. They're not perfect. Granted, no movies are hardly perfect. I hate that ranking. But again, Spider-Man 2 is a decent movie, and I'm going to give it a C for The Amazing Spider-Man. Batman Begins. Oh, okay. This one just started that whole new trend. I remember seeing this movie and leaving the theater saying, wow, they finally did it right. What I loved was what Commissioner Gordon, well, he wasn't commissioner yet, is talking to the Batman. And he, Commissioner Gordon's going on, he looks and he sees Batman gone. He goes, oh, okay, whatever. It reminded me of the animated series. So I remember leaving the theater thinking they did it right. I thought it was grounded in reality. So I'm going to give Batman Begins a B. Ooh, here we go. The Dark Knight. I'm going to give this one, of course, it's goated. One of the best performances of the Joker. We're talking Oscar winning category. And just the tone of the film. I remember, if we can all remember back in 2008 when we saw this, it was just, you can feel like the power of the Joker just escalate and grow. I remember the score, that tension of just that one, it was like one cello. It was one long note. But the tension and how uncomfortable the theater felt in that whole movie was just a very unique experience, very comparable to the Joker that came out recently. But it's an amazing film. Okay. Ooh, The Dark Knight Rises. This is one of my personal favorites. I believe it or not, there are times where I feel people have forgotten about this film. And I think Bane, excluding Thanos and a few others, Bane is arguably one of the best villains out there. It's grounded, and he actually terrifies me. Tom Hardy in this performance with Dark Knight Rises really scared me in just how simple he played it. And it's not spoken of enough more. So I'm going to give Batman Rises an A. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Iron Man. This is Iron Man, the original one. The one that started it all. It's an amazing film. I remember, for those who don't remember, I remember the casting choice with Robert Downey Jr. I remember it made sense because I remember the alcoholic storylines when it came to battling demons with Tony Stark. I thought casting Robert was perfect considering his past. His past was less than 10 years from the casting of this movie. So he had a check capacity of slowly rebuilding his life and getting that away from him. But I think it was a perfect casting choice, and it was very funny and grounded, and I loved it. As far as it being goated, I don't know if it is or not, but it's a fantastic film, and it really is the reason why the MCU became what it is. So I'm going to give Iron Man an A. Here we go. Superman 2, the original one, with General Zod and the others. I grew up with this one. I understand it's not perfect. I understand it's very silly, and I do appreciate and love, I think, the Donner cut more than Superman 2, to be completely honest. This one, it's timeless to me, so it's really tough for me to separate and just kind of be like logical with it. So much is going on. There are some inconsistencies in the film, but again, Superman fighting villains that his dad had imprisoned, and these prisoners are now after him. And at the time, you had state-of-the-art battle effects in the Metropolis. But it is it's funny, it's fun, it's grounded in reality as well, and it kills Christopher Reeve. So I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it a B for Superman 2. Okay? The Incredible Hulk. One of my most successful videos here on YouTube was From Perfection to This. This is when I complained about the Hulk and what the MCU has done with him. I feel the promise and hope that I had with the MCU when this movie came out, because again, Edward Norton had loved the dark and grounded comic book movies that had been coming out, like Nolan did, and he wanted to pursue that, but of course Marvel said no. They went their own route. But this is a great film. I don't understand the hate it gets. I think it's a generational thing, like us Gen Xers who grew up with the original series love this film, but millennials and Gen Z after the fact don't. It's not funny enough. I don't know. I'm just disconnected with that. I don't understand the hate, but again, it's a great film, so I'm going to give The Incredible Hulk an A. Okay? Iron Man 2. Again, as I did in my review for my entire media collection, I don't get why Iron Man 2 gets so much hate. Yes, it's a weak villain, but the MCU is flooded with weak villains. It's a great story with Tony and him overcoming some demons himself and, making peace with his dad and finding out why his dad was so distant from him, but his dad still loved him behind the scenes. So it's a great character study for Tony Stark. So, but again, the villain, yeah, whatever, but it's still a great movie. I'm going to give Iron Man 2 actually a B. It's not bad. It's not, I don't get why it gets so much hate. Okay. And again, I'm going to run through these because there's so many to go through. But again, I'll stick to some that I feel that I need to. Okay. But Thor, it was a fish out of water story. It's very corny, very cheesy, but it was fun. Do I own it? No. Will I ever buy it? No. But it was a fun experience. I remember laughing, just seeing Viking in modern times, and it was very silly. But is it one of the best? No. I think it's very forgettable, in my opinion. So I'm gonna give Thor, the original, I'm gonna give it a C. Okay. Captain America, the first Avenger. Again, I do not know why this gets a lot of hate. This is one of the best Avenger original origin tales ever. I mean, just to see how Steve Rogers, the special effects hold up to this day, just seeing his story, learning about how the super serum worked and just kind of amplified the person that you were. It's a great film. I loved it. And believe it or not, maybe I have a little bit of a nostalgic tether to it, because I remember when I was a kid and I went to the library, I was amazed that they had a comic book hard paperback novel section. And one of the first books I ever rented from the library was Captain America and the Cosmic Cube and the Red Skull. And I read that all the time. And Bucky died in the video. It was more or less a huge stack of just all the classic comics in one novel. And I read the entire thing, but it was great. So I love Captain America. And he was a cartoonist. And they touched on that in this film, and they totally forgot about it in the other films. So the first Avenger, I'm actually going to give this one an A. It's really good. I don't understand why people hate it. I don't agree with you. The Avengers. This is something I'll never forget seeing. I never thought I would see my comic book heroes all together in a story. And it was a wonderful experience. And they did it right. They built everybody's backstory with a single movie, slowly pieced it together. And before you know it, they're all fighting a common enemy. And it's going to be goated. The Avengers Part 1 is goated. I will never forget that. The smile on my face I had the entire time, I loved it. Iron Man 3 is fun. It's a funny movie. And I remember it was like the first movie maybe after Avengers 2. I don't remember, but I remember it, again, being a great character study with Tony. Incredibly funny. He's not wearing the Iron Man suit at least 80% of the time in the movie. So Iron Man isn't present in the entire movie. So I don't know. This one it's funny to watch. It's not a fun Iron Man movie for me, but I'm going to give it a C. Maybe it's not a D, but I'm going to give it a C. Thor Dark World, enough said. I'm giving it an F. I'm not going to spend any time on that. Captain America 2. This gave me a rejuvenated spark with the MCU, because again, all the other films, I started seeing the trend. I started seeing it that it was very silly. And, you know, anytime there was an emotional, tension-filled moment, they would throw it off with a joke. I like that. That wasn't present in this. And it's really a battle of ideologies. Captain America was always, you know, doing what's right for the government, doing great for America, fighting for a dream. But when that dream has now been more corrupted, and it's now we're watching everybody, we have 24-hour surveillance and everything. It's a confliction of his ideals. And I love that they touched on that. And I love the tone of it is very serious. It's a fantastic film. So I think as far as the MCU movies, the Captain America series is some of my favorites. And that whole assassination portion where they try to kill Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury, I was like, oh my God, it felt like an adult movie, to be honest. It felt like a DC movie. So I'm giving Captain America 2 an A. Let's continue on here. Guardians of the Galaxy. No one gave a damn about Star-Lord. No one knew who Rocket Raccoon was. And this was James Gunn's first movie into the MCU. Nobody cared about this comic book. Nobody cared about this IP. Then James Gunn comes along. It makes it fun, and everybody falls in love with it. And guess what? Now it's possibly, arguably, some of the best characters in the best trilogy in the MCU. Part 3, I loved Part 3. So Guardians, I'm going to say it's an A. Great film. Age of Ultron, D. I didn't like it at all. That's all I'm going to say. I didn't like it at all. It was like I felt they were starting to lose steam in that whole Thor dream sequence in the pond. Nothing made sense. They started to get away from themselves. Ant-Man, this was a fun caper. C. It was fun. Visually, it was fun, but it was too fun for me. It felt like a kid's movie. And I know it's Disney. I know these movies are mainly made for kids. But again, Captain America Part 2, Civil War, and then that, there's really no comparison. It's a different tone. It's a different audience. But for me, it was just very silly, especially when you have a fight sequence on a kid's train set. Yeah, you know what I mean. Superman 3, Richard Pryor. Thank you, brother. I will say, I grew up with this movie, and I was terrified with that robot sequence, and that woman becomes a robot. It's a hacker movie, believe it or not. I mean, what's his face? Richard Pryor is a computer hacker in a movie that was made in 1983. I don't even know if hacking was a thing, but he's a hacker. He was a computer genius, but he hacked things. He controlled surveillances. He controlled satellites. So it's a very modern idea in an old movie, possibly maybe the first hacker movie ever made. I don't know, but the tone is completely stupid. It's silly. It's fun, but it's silly. But I'm going to give Superman 3. Oh, God, what am I going to give that? I'm going to give Superman a D. Superman 3 D. Thank you, brother. Civil War. This was great. A great film. I'm going to say an A. And the introduction of Spider-Man. A. Doctor Strange. Great film, but forgettable for me. I love how they kind of took the Inception idea of flipping cities and all that jazz and just turned it to 11. C, average movie. I don't even remember the score. I don't know, call me crazy, but I feel like when it comes to comic book movies, it has to have a great score, a memorable score. And, you know, Wonder Woman, for its faults, has a great score. So does Man of Steel. So does the original Captain America. But the others never had a score that felt timeless to me, including Doctor Strange. So again, C, average film, forgettable. I won't buy it. I won't buy that. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This was good, but not as great as the first one. Very emotional at the end, finding out who, you know, he's not, I may not be your father, but I'm your daddy, whatever that quote was. And that one character, I forget his name, but he dies. And it's a very touching sequence at the end. I'm going to give it a B. It wasn't as strong as the first. The first Spider-Man, Homecoming. This one was good. Probably the best villain in the entire Spider-Man trilogy, for the exception of that last one. I'll get to that in a bit. But probably one of my favorite villains in the Vulture with Michael Keaton. It made sense. But one thing I was hoping to get in this Spider-Man film, like the Andrew Garfield movies and the Tobey Maguire films, is I wanted Spidey to have his own film and not have Iron Man in every fucking scene and not be reminded of Iron Man in every damn scene. And you couldn't get away from that in all of them. So I just got tired of that MCU. Oh, just like I wanted to just leave him alone. Can Spidey have his own movie without Tony Stark in the background, or him talking about Tony, or him trying to be Iron Man Jr.? I hated that. I hated that treatment. So Homecoming, I'm gonna give it a B. Thor Ragnarok for me has aged poorly, as I've said. It is a fun movie. I saw it at the theater. I was laughing my ass off just like everybody else in the theater. I saw it again, and once I bought it, I laughed at home. Third time, I just thought it was stupid. I mean, it's a lot of improv. Taika Waititi, I believe is the director's name. I love his comedy. What We Do in the Shadows is one of my favorite shows. I watch it every night with my fiance. So I love his sense of humor, but again, there's a time and place for it. And Thor Ragnarok, I felt it was okay, but it hasn't aged wonderfully for me. It's like the Batman Forever of the Thor movies, or in the MCU. It's just so damn silly. And I hate what they did with the Hulk. I hate that they made Thor an idiot. And it's just, it was like two stupid guys luckily getting through a crisis. So Ragnarok for me, again, hasn't aged well. It's getting an F. Black Panther, this was a great first movie. I did love it. I know from a social commentary piece, it means a lot to a lot of other people. I thought it was average, but it was a great film. And I love how it necessarily didn't feel like a Marvel movie. It felt like it felt like it was within the universe, but it felt like it was in the hands of a different director. And I think that's the one thing that Marvel lacks sometimes, is that every film feels the same way, and it doesn't feel like it's in the hands of a filmmaker. It just feels like somebody said, "Oh, here's the times, here's the sequences, here's the battle sequences. You know, you can write a couple of things, but you can't touch these, you know, key points." But they all feel the same. But this one felt different. So Black Panther, I'm gonna give a B. Was it worthy of being nominated for an Oscar? Probably not in my opinion. I think that's the Academy just throwing us a bone. Infinity War. Goated. It's an amazing film. It's an amazing film. I can't believe they took every IP and every movie and made it work cohesively. They teamed every character with another team of 5 people. They did that. I don't know how they did it. It's an amazing film. And I remember just smiling at the end when everybody started dying. Spoilers, by the way. When everyone started dying after Thanos had, you know, did the thumb, whatever. What do you call that? I forgot what this is called. when he snapped his fingers. There you go. When he snapped his fingers and everyone started dying, I loved that Marvel took a chance. I love that they went with an adult tone. I love that it didn't end with humor, and I love that it had a negative ending like that. It was perfect. It was a wonderful ending, and leaving the theater, I remember everyone was quiet, and I love that. Like, they had balls and they went for it. I wish they went for it more. But Infinity War, one of the best ever. Captain Marvel, I saw it 3 times in the theater. F. Endgame. I love the film, and it's funny because this film is just filled with holes, plot holes, things that they're just making up as they went. They reinvented how time travel went just to kind of conveniently fit the plot points. So they had to reinvent everything. So many plot points. I had to tell myself while watching this, Rudy, just shut up and enjoy it. Just turn off your brain and enjoy what you're seeing. So this film, it was more of an event. We all waited 10 years to see this, and that last battle was something I'll take to my grave. And I love that I took my kids to see all these movies from 2008 till that. Unbelievable experience. I will never forget it. It's more of an event, but is it a good movie? No. It's got tons of plot holes, so I'm going to give Endgame a B. Tons of plot holes, man. Superman: The Quest for Peace. I'm sorry, Christopher, you're my hero, but that's an F. Spider-Man: A Far From Home, D. It just felt like a waste of time for me. Eternals, I actually had no intentions on seeing this, but I was like curious how Marvel fans are turning against their own movies. This is like one of the first movies that came out that people were complaining about. I'm like, holy shit, Marvel did something different. So now guess what? I'm interested. I want to see this. So I remember going to see the Eternals. It felt like a Justice League movie. It felt like a Zack Snyder movie, honestly, just not a Zack Snyder movie. But I fell asleep. I fell asleep in this movie. I was so bored. Eternals, I love that it took chances. I love that it doesn't feel like an MCU movie, but I don't, other than Icarus, I can't name anybody else other than the other, who is not Flash, who is not Wonder Woman, the other person. So Eternals, I'm gonna give it a D. Spider-Man, with all 3 of them. This was, again, nostalgic, for nostalgic reasons. This was an unbelievable experience. It was cool to see everyone, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, all on the screen. And I love that Andrew Garfield showed everybody, hey, I can fucking act. I'm the best actor here, and I'm probably the best Spider-Man here. I actually got emotional just hearing everybody kind of talk about their loss. And Andrew just was acting circles around everybody. So again, this was a nostalgic experience. It was great to see them all together. I wish we would have had more time with them. A lot of plot holes again, but it is the best Spider-Man film out of the 3. So this one is going to get an A. Watchmen. Oh my God, I love this film. I know it takes a portion of the novel. It's not the entire novel. I know a lot of diehard fans aren't big fans of it, but it is, in my opinion, one of the best comic book movies ever. Not because it's Zack Snyder. I didn't know who Zack Snyder was when I first saw this, but I love the tone of it and how we are in an alternate universe, and just kind of like how the American dream came true for a lot of Americans, and the corruption and just the raw violence in it. So this one's going to get goated for me for The Watchmen. Green Lantern was fun. It's, again, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. I remember watching the movie and just like, it looks too fake. The CGI is bad, but it's not that. It's not horrible. With that being said, I'm giving it an F. Man of Steel, absolute masterpiece. One of the best Superman films ever made. As a Superman fan, this was a Superman movie that I wanted. One of Zack Snyder's best films. I love the grounded reality and the tone. And I absolutely loved how this felt different. It was a superhero movie, but it didn't feel like a Marvel movie. The last thing I wanted Warner Brothers, and this is almost 10 years ago, to do was to try to copy the Marvel formula, because everybody was going to reject it. Everyone was going to say, look what they're trying to do. I love how they were going with a grounded reality, just kind of springboarding off of the Dark Knight trilogy. And in my opinion, they executed it beautifully with this film, especially with Nolan and Zach and everybody kind of like as executive producers. So this was an amazing film. I feel that it'll be appreciated as time moves on. I've done many film exposés on this. If you want to check them out, I'll put the link up there. But it does not deserve the hate that it received. when the main complaint was people were saying, well, he destroyed the entire city. Well, I mean, you didn't make that complaint when New York was destroyed, when the Avengers were fighting the aliens. And it's so stupid. So it did not deserve the hate it received. But anyway, Man of Steel is goated. I will die on that hill. BVS is an A for me, especially the extended edition. It gave me everything I wanted. It is a long movie. I know it's not what everybody had hoped for, but it is an A for me. And seeing them fight on the screen was like a dream come true. Suicide Squad, again, this is not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. I've seen worse. I'm gonna give it a C. I wish one day we get the air cut to see the true vision of the director and what he had wanted to do if they had left him alone. Again, after BVS, that's when Warner Brothers started intervening and just started making these stupid decisions and just changing everything, firing directors, and went with a completely messy DCU. It never had a chance after a BVS. And people call them flops, but they made almost $1 billion on these films. They did well. They were successful. They weren't accepted by fans, but people went and saw the film. God damn you, Warner Brothers, for fucking everything up. Okay, Wonder Woman. This is gonna get an A. I loved it. There's very few times in a movie where I'm watching it and I get goosebumps. I get goosebumps in a film when a character finally shows their origin. And, you know, the reveal when Wonder Woman walking out to no man's land, goosebumps. Beautiful film. I loved it. Part 2, that's another story. Justice League, fuck you. That's the F. Aquaman. I know I made $1 billion, and I know that was because mainly women going to the theater and checking it out. It was a fun movie. Visually, it was great. I've never bought it. I have no intentions on buying it, but I had a good time. But again, I'm gonna give it a Aquaman. I'm gonna give it a SC. It was okay. It was fun. I don't know what part 2 is going to be. I know it's the last movie in this entire DCU fiasco. I'm not expecting much, but I will see it. But again, Aquaman 1 was a lot of fun. You know what? I'm gonna change it. Instead of a C, it was a B. It was a good time. Shazam Part 1. This was fun as well. I'm gonna give it a B. Harley Quinn. This was different. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give that a C. Wonder Woman 84. I'm gonna give that an F. That was just so stupid. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Dun 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 dun. Goated. This film. We weren't supposed to get it, but us fans fought for years. We were teased. We were mocked. We were told it didn't exist. And the fact that this came out through just demand and just a total series of just events, COVID, HBO Max. The fact that we got this, and again, the first time I saw it was a screening at Sean Chandler's place. He invited me to go see it. I'll never forget that. I got emotional. I teared up. It was everything I wanted. And again, I was 45 at the time, but again, the tone, the grounded reality, and how each character, granted they didn't get a movie to introduce themselves with. I mean, again, that was based on Warner Brothers decisions. The fact that Zach pulled it off, again, he needed 4 hours, but I don't blame him, but he pulled it off. It's a beautiful film. I see it once, twice a year. And that whole sequence where Flash goes back in time after the mother box goes off, goosebumps. I can't believe somebody saw that and didn't think it made sense. And that whole sequence was in a hard drive somewhere. I can't believe that. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is probably my top 3 favorite comic book movies of all time. I absolutely loved it. It was everything I wanted. Suicide Squad was fun. And again, this was my introduction to James Gunn. Everybody's introduction to James Gunn and the DCU. I love how it's funny, but it's also grounded and very adult. And I have complete trust in James Gunn. I cannot wait to see what he does. I love that he has a passion for these characters. And I love that he takes chances. Even with Peacemaker the show, which was pretty fucking funny. It's not always dark and dreary with me. I'm not saying they're dark and dreary. Dreary? Shut up. I like dark movies, of course, but again, I like laughing as well. But as long as it's done right and it's not just silly humor, it's adult humor, I'll take that any day. And him taking over the Suicide Squad was pretty fucking amazing. I just bought this on Blu-ray and I loved it. And again, adult humor, violent, but also funny. So I'm gonna give Suicide Squad an A. Supergirl, Jesus Christ, F. I know there's an extended cut, but I haven't seen it. The Joker, goated. Masterpiece. nominated for Best Picture. Joaquin won an Oscar. Unbelievable film. I will never, ever, again, for theater experiences, I will never forget the feeling of the tension in the audience while everybody in the theater was watching the end part of the Joker, where he's talking to Robert De Niro on the talk show. The tension, everybody felt like, is he going to kill him? What's going to happen? Everybody was freaking out. I'll never forget that. The Batman, goated. God damn, these are all goated, man. Unbelievable film. The Batmobile engine firing up was like ear porn to me. X-Men, this was fun. This was a lot of fun. This was, again, one of the major movies that launched in 2000. And it kind of brought like some credibility to the major audience in introducing the X-Men. The X-Men had a popular cartoon in the 90s. So this was just the epiphany of that. I'm going to give X-Men a B. X2 was good. I'm going to give X2 a B as well. X-Men, is this X-Men 3? This was okay. I'm going to give it a C. Like I said, I'm going to run through this as fast as I can. Not as fast as I can, but I'll go through these if I have nothing to say. X-Men First Class. This was really good. I was totally shocked. It was a movie that no one asked for, but we got it anyway. But it was a cool origin story of the X-Men. I'm going to give this one a B as well. X-Men Days of Future Past, absolute A. Not many people talk about Days of Future Past. It's probably the best X-Men movie that we've gotten so far. But that's an amazing film, and I think people have forgotten about it. We need to talk about that more. Apocalypse, this was kind of cheesy. I'm going to give this one a C. Oh, Dark Phoenix. I haven't seen this one. Put that back on the list. X-Men Origins. Wolverine. D. The Wolverine. Great change. I don't remember much about it, but I remember the tone just feeling totally off. I'm going to give it a C. Superman Returns. I have a love and hate relationship with this movie. It is a better Superman movie than oh, is it a better Superman movie than the original? No, it's not. It's a very artsy film, but I remember being a little disappointed when it was over. But I love that it was a love letter to the original Richard Donner films and Christopher Reeve. So I'm going to give that one a C. Logan is a goated masterpiece. Unbelievable film. That needs to be talked about more. Deadpool was fun. I think this was my favorite MCU film for a while. I loved it. I remember when I was this is when I was also single and I was started dating. I would show this in my house and then we'd hook up afterwards or during the middle of that. But I saw it recently and I remember the humor not landing with me. So as of now, it's not. I kind of find Ryan Reynolds annoying. I don't know if that's going to transfer over to part 3, but I just found him incredibly annoying when I saw it recently. So I'm going to give Deadpool a B. Okay. Deadpool 2 was not as good as part 1. I'm going to give that one a C. The Fantastic Four and the Rise of the Silver Surfer. This is on par. This is on the same level as current MCU films, in my opinion. This is no better or worse than current MCU films. This movie. And I loved it. I love that we finally got to see the Silver Surfer on the big screen. And you know what? This was fun. I'm going to give it a C. And I'm also going to give that Fantastic Four a C as well. These are fun. And again, same as what we've been getting today. Venom, I enjoyed it when I saw it. I gave it a good review, but in hindsight, it's an F. I don't like Venom. I don't like where it's going. Same thing with this, Venom 2. I don't like it at all. And you know what? That's what I'm saying. The treatment we got with the Joker. Can you imagine if we got that same tone, that same writing, that same direction, and made a Carnage film or a Venom film? How much better it would be? We will never get that. Oh, then that pisses me off. Ang Lee's Hulk. I need to see this again. It's not horrible. The only thing that I found distracting was just the panels and the transitions. It's so unique. It's a foreign director coming in with a totally non-biased vision. And I do love the effects. The effects are very cheesy, but again, I love how the size of the Hulk is like super freaking huge. I love the power of them. And I love how it keeps that consistent power dynamic that I mentioned in my Hulk review, where every time he gets hurt, he gets stronger and he grows. You can't beat the Hulk. Thanos can't beat up the Hulk. The Hulk doesn't get scared. He wants to smash. You can't defeat the Hulk. I don't give a shit who it is. And I can't wait till we get a film that respects that. But this one, I'm going to give Ang Lee's Hulk for right now. I do need to revisit it. I'm going to give it a D. Daredevil, again, this was fun. This is the early 2000s. After everybody saw the success of Spider-Man, everyone decided to make films. And of course, this has been Affleck. Daredevil was my favorite character, believe it or not, in the late 80s, early 90s. Seeing this, I thought it was kind of cheesy. So I'm going to give Daredevil a D. The Daredevil television show, my humble opinion, is the best comic book show ever made. Bar none. There's nothing that comes close. Maybe second would be Doom Patrol, but Daredevil on Netflix, the best comic book show ever made. The Batman, groundbreaking. I'll never forget how hyped I was when this first came out. Unbelievable experience. I saw it recently. Does it hold up? I don't know, but it is a great film. I'm gonna give the original Batman an A. Blade, Marvel's first successful Hollywood movie with a black lead. I love the tone. I love that it was rated R. And this is when I had so much hope for the MCU. I couldn't wait for them to make more rated R movies, and they never did. Of course, they made a couple more, but this is their first. Blade is a classic. Blade's goated, in my opinion. One of the best. Blade 2 with Guillermo del Toro. Fun film. I love the villain in this movie. It made sense. I love how there is this great battle, some CGI, but again, it feels authentic. So I'm gonna give Blade 2. I'm gonna give it a B. Blade Trinity is fun. It's grown on me. I'm gonna give it a C. Ghost Rider. This Ghost Rider, yeah, it's Ghost Rider Part 2. You know what? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Oh my god. Lego Batman. This is fun. I didn't know Lego Batman was on here. Lego Batman. Oh my god. Lego Batman was hilarious. I'm gonna give Lego Batman a B. Oh my god. Yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yep. A. Goated. Unbelievable film. This one I'm not too fond of. I do have the graphic novel. I wasn't a big fan of the animated film. They took some liberties, and like the whole first half was like, what's going on here? I'm gonna give this one a D. But again, the comic book itself is fucking amazing. The original Batman movie. You know what? I know there's a lot of people who love the original Batman movie. I understand it's just not part of my time, and I know people love the Adam West Batman, and there's some nostalgic feels to that, but not for me. It's campy, but I know it's supposed to be. It's campy, but it's supposed to be, right? It's just what it was. But it's just not for me. But I understand how it's relevant to a lot of people. I'm gonna give it a C because again, I know the historic significance of that. The Punisher. Oh yeah, that's right. This one don't remember much. I'm gonna give it a D. Batman Returns. Let's see. This one here was pretty good. Michelle Pfeiffer is arguably, not arguably, she's the best Catwoman, hands down. I love the creative vision for the Penguin with Danny DeVito. It's not as good as the first Batman, so I'm gonna give it a B. Catwoman is straight trash. I didn't know that was on here. My God. Dolph Lundgren's Punisher. This is the one I grew up on, man. This FYI. I know we're spoiled and we have like Hollywood major budget comic book movies for us to enjoy and complain about. But growing up, all we had was straight to video MCU movies with Dolph Lundgren or made for TV movies with the Hulk. And this one was good. It's not great, but it's good. So I'm gonna give it a D. But again, it's a lot of nostalgic feels for me. That came out like in 91, 92. Ghost Rider. I love this movie. I have it on Blu-ray. And I think a lot of people forget about it. And again, it's campy, it's fun, but I love the effects. And again, Nick Cage as Ghost Rider. Why don't they make another Ghost Rider movie? I don't know. I'm gonna give it a C. Howard the Duck, that's on here. Oh my God. Where am I gonna put Howard the Duck? I saw this with my parents, and this is HBO. I didn't see it at the movies, but I remember it on HBO when it came out. This was a big deal. And I remember me feeling uncomfortable when Howard's like flying through these rooms, and he flies through this one room where there's a girl duck taking a bath, and you see girl duck boobs. And then there was a condom in Howard's wallet. It's pretty bad, but FD is what I meant to say. Batman Forever, aka Thor Ragnarok. Again, the reason this one was made was that people complained about how dark the Batman movies were. Batman Returns and the original Batman, they couldn't take their kids, they couldn't sell toys. So they wanted to make a lighter, more fun Batman movie. So they made this. And granted, I loved it. I remember leaving the theater. I remember having a great time with it. Has it aged well? No, not for me. It's very silly. And Tommy Lee Jones, it's very cringe what Tommy Lee Jones was doing with as Two-Face. But again, it's a time capsule of its time. One of the best soundtracks with Seal and U2 on here. I'm gonna give Batman Returns. I'm gonna give it a C. And the very last film. Oh, we're already done. Batman and Robin, F. And there you go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I can do individual videos. I can do the MCU. I can do the DCU videos. But again, I wanted to tackle this to kind of give everybody this right here. What you see on the screen are my opinions. And this is how I feel. Again, I'm not a diehard DC fan. I'm not a diehard Marvel fan. I love comic book movies. I love them both. I grew up collecting both comics. There was no division. There was not one was better than the other. All of us growing up in the 80s, 90s loved comic books. Image, everybody. We just loved comics, and we wanted them to succeed. And we wanted all the films to be great so we can root for each other and just open up other opportunities for other comic book movies. So again, I am not anti-Marvel. I am not anti-anything. I want great movies that we all can connect with. And I feel that we really haven't gotten a lot of those as of late, especially in the MCU side when they have such potential to do that. And I'm kind of hoping with James Gunn, now that he's got the reins of the DCU, and how I love his films and how he just loves his characters, I cannot wait to see that. But again, this is me. This is what I love. What do you think? What are your thoughts? If you have any feedback, let me know. Put some comments down below. What are your go-to comic book movies? Put them down below. I'd love to hear from you. And again, thanks for watching. Now, you guys are enjoying these tier videos. I enjoy making them. And again, I enjoy making them because I think you guys are finally getting a feel of like what I like and what I'm into. And that's cool. I saw the Metallica feedback. I'm going to do more of those videos. My fiance is a diehard Marilyn Manson fan. And I told her if she would like to be on one of these tier videos. She said yes. So again, more to come. I'm excited about this. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you for all the new comments and the engagement. Thank you so much. Good night. And if you haven't done so, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Woo!